What's up, everybody? It's Jordan, and welcome to the Sports Behind Show. Today is April 28th, 2021. We are pretty much exactly 24 hours away from the 2021 NFL Draft. Absolutely crazy that we're just a day away from the draft. It does not seem like it should be this close at all. And this video, I'm going to be doing my final round one NFL mock draft. I've not done a normal mock draft in a while. I've done some 3-round mock drafts. I did a 3-round mock draft with trades last week, and they won the previous week with just a 3-round mock draft with no trades. So this is my final mock draft. So let's go ahead and get started here. With the first selection, I don't really think this has much explaining. I mean, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the number one pick. It's been obvious. Whoever had the number one pick is going to select Trevor Lawrence. It's a good pick by Jacksonville. Great way to start off Urban Meyer's coaching career and getting an elite quarterback prospect in Trevor Lawrence. So he goes number one to Jacksonville. Number 2, the New York Jets take BYU quarterback Zach Wilson. I really, really like this pick. I like Zach Wilson more than Trevor Lawrence, actually. Zach Wilson is my favorite quarterback prospect in the draft. I think if they give him a little bit more weapons and an offensive line, I think he's going to do great things with the New York Jets. And that was part of the reason why Sam Darnold kind of struggled a little bit with New York, was because he did not have a good offensive line. He did not have a whole ton of weapons. They had Robert Anderson for a little bit. They drafted Denzel Mims from Baylor last year. But I really think Zach Wilson is going to do really, really good this year with the New York Jets. Number 3, I went back and forth between who the San Francisco 49ers is going to take. I pretty much had Justin Fields, Trey Lance, and Matt Jones all mocked to the San Francisco 49ers within the past couple of weeks. I actually think it's going to be Matt Jones. There's no way to me that the San Francisco 49ers do not know who they're going to take. You don't trade that many draft picks and that many first-round picks unless you're 1 billion% sure who you're going to take. And I really think they're going to take Matt Jones at number 3. Personally, I don't think it's worth the trade-up. Matt Jones is my 5th best quarterback prospect, in my opinion. I think he's really good, but he does nothing great. I think Trey Lance and Justin Fields have far more potential than Matt Jones, but I do think Jones would do really well in Shanahan's system with San Francisco. Number 4, this is where it gets interesting. I know lots of people have Kyle Pitts going mocked to the Atlanta Falcons. I've said the whole time I believe number 4 will be a quarterback, whether that's the Atlanta Falcons or maybe a team like the Chicago Bears or the New England Patriots trading up to get a quarterback. But with this 4th pick, I'm standing by what I said at the very beginning. I had the Atlanta Falcons selecting quarterback from North Dakota State, Trey Lance. I think Trey Lance has potential to be a great quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's pro ready enough. Of all the top 5 quarterbacks, I think he's least amount of pro ready. And I think sitting behind a guy like Matt Ryan, who could potentially be a Pro Football Hall of Famer in years to come, is a great way to get experience in the NFL. Set with a guy like Ryan, who's been to Super Bowls, who's won many awards. I like this pick by Atlanta a lot. I know it's unpopular, but I think it's the right decision. Because if you get Kyle Pitts number 4, you have Ridley. Julio's getting up there in age, but he's still a very good receiver. If you get Pitts, you have a couple really nice weapons. But at the same time, who are you going to have to throw the ball to in 2 years? I mean, Matt Ryan has a ridiculous contract. I believe he's 35 years old or something like that, really mid-30s. I think it's smart for Atlanta to go ahead and take their quarterback. I know it's unpopular, but I really think that's the best move Atlanta can make, unless they maybe trade back. Number 5, everybody has debated for probably, since the day the Bengals were announced the 5th pick, have debated, is it going to be Jamar Chase? Is it going to be Penei Sewell? I really think it's going to be Jamar Chase. I think it'll happen. I mean, you kind of look at, outside people. Some, like, for example, Mel Kiper, I believe he has the Bengals getting Penei Sewell, and some other people do as well. But, inside, people within the Bengals organization or close to him had them getting Jamar Chase. It kind of seems like people who are close to an organization are far more right with the Bengals getting selections than outside people who are draft experts. I wouldn't be upset if it was Penei Sewell. I wouldn't be upset if it was Ja'Marr Chase. I wouldn't even be upset if it was Kyle Pitts. I'd be happy with any three of those picks. But it's really interesting taking Ja'Marr Chase over Penei Sewell. I'm not totally against it, but I'm not totally for it. I'm kind of in between. But overall, I think it's a pretty decent pick by the Bengals getting Chase at 5. Number 6, this is a phenomenal pick by the Miami Dolphins. They take Florida tight end Kyle Pitts. There's really no explanation for this one. Best player available, 100%. I know you need an offensive line, but the Dolphins have, I believe, 4 picks within the first 50 picks, and they can get an offensive line with another pick. Getting Kyle Pitts at number 6 is the smart thing, and it's the right thing to do. I tweeted something back probably a month and a half ago saying that the Dolphins need to be considered, taking Kyle Pitts at 3. That's when they had the 3rd pick. There's a trade and everything, and they now have the 6th pick, and they may end up getting Kyle Pitts. Mike Gesicki, their tight end, who's a pretty good tight end, one of the better ones in the NFL, has 1 year remaining on his contract. They have Devontae Parker, but I think his contract's ending up soon. You need to give Tua Tagovailoa weapons, and that's exactly what they do here by getting Kyle Pitts at number 6. Number 7, out of all the teams in the top 10, 100%, the Detroit Lions, in my opinion, are the most difficult team to mock a player with. If Trey Lance is there, do they take Trey Lance? If Ja'Marr Chase is there, I wouldn't imagine he would be. Do they take him? Do they take offensive linemen? Do they take Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle because they desperately need a wide receiver? I have them taking Oregon offensive tackle Penei Sewell. I really think Detroit's not going to be selecting here. I really think maybe let's say Denver Broncos or the Patriots or somebody would trade up. Because it's evident the Lions are willing to trade back, but there was a report today that they were told the Atlanta Falcons for possible trade up to get Ja'Marr Chase. But I really think the Lions will not be selecting here. I think of all the teams in the top 10, and of all the teams in the first round in general, if I had to pick one team who's going to trade back, I really think it's going to be the Detroit Lions. But Penei Sewell here, the offensive tackle from Oregon, is a really nice pick though. Jared Goff or whoever your quarterback is, they need some protection. You got to protect your franchise quarterback or whoever it may be. Sewell here at number 7, I think is a pretty good pick by Detroit. The second wide receiver comes off the board here with the Carolina Panthers selecting wide receiver Jalen Waddle from Alabama. I really, really like this pick here. I think this is a very underrated pick that people aren't talking about enough that I think will end up happening. You look at the Carolina Panthers, they lost Curtis Samuel to the Washington football team in free agency. He really used that speedster receiver. Jalen Waddle fills that void. On their offense, look at Joe Brady. He's an offensive-minded guy. He has DJ Moore in his offense, in my opinion. Tied with Tyler Boyd for the most underrated receiver in the NFL. They traded for Sam Darnold. And, if you want Sam Darnold to succeed, you need to give him a little bit more weapons. I think even Jalen Waddle here, number 8, is a very, very smart pick. It's an underrated pick, and I really think it's a great one. For the Carolina Panthers. Like the Dolphins pick. Yeah, I think it's a great pick. If Pitts is there at 6, I 100% think the Dolphins should take him. Number 9 is a very interesting pick because a trade happened today. The Denver Broncos traded a 6th-round pick to get Teddy Bridgewater. I really like that trade. Because to me, that still does not solve your quarterback situation, not one bit. I actually had to change this mock draft due to that trade. I originally had him taking Justin Fields here, but with that trade, I don't have him taking quarterback. Instead, I have him taking linebacker Micah Parsons. I actually had a chance to talk with Broncos legend Carl Mecklenburg yesterday, and he was talking about linebackers at one position, along with quarterback that the Broncos really need. And I really agree with him there because Micah Parsons, to me, is a great linebacker. But, his off-the-field issues I don't think are being talked about enough. He had a phenomenal pro day. I don't think he slips past – I would be shocked if he goes outside the top 15. I think here at number 9 with Denver is a very nice pick. Bradley Chubb, this is defensive side of the ball. He's his contract, he does not have any years in his contract. Von Miller's getting up there in age. They need that, that main guy on their defense. They have, Justin Justin Simmons, their safety, but I think they need another guy. I like Micah Parsons to the Denver Broncos here. And number 9 overall. Number 10, I've kind of had Patrick Surtain to the Cowboys. Number 10 for at least a month or so. I'm actually going to change that. I had the Cowboys selecting cornerback Jaycee Horn. I like this pick a lot. You look at Dallas's defense. Jaycee Horn actually fits the Cowboys defense more than Patrick Surtain. One of the coaches for the Cowboys has a great relationship with Muschamp, who's the coach at South Carolina, with Jaycee Horn. I really think it's going to happen. And it's really crazy how Jaycee Horn, he's kind of, risen to the top. A month and a half ago, he was projected to be the third corner taken. With Caleb Farley's drop-off due to his injuries, Patrick Surtain still being there, it's kind of crazy how much Jaycee Horn's stock has risen the past month and a half or so. I really like that pick by the Cowboys. I really think they have to take corner, whether it's Jaycee Horn or Patrick Surtain. Their cornerback depth is horrendous. They were on pace to literally have the worst pass defense in NFL history last season. So I have Jaycee Horn going to Dallas at number 10. Number 11, I have the New York Giants selecting Rashawn Slater, the offensive tackle from Northwestern University. There's reports, that quite a few teams actually like him at guard and have compared him to Zach Martin of the Dallas Cowboys. I really think that the New York Giants need some more offensive line help. They got the weapons. They have Daniel Jones, who, in my opinion, is still a question mark. You have Saquon Barkley coming back from an injury, Kenny Galladay, but he's also coming back from an injury. Evan Ingram, John Ross, Shepard. They have some nice guys, but it's not going to mean anything if they cannot protect their quarterback. I really like Slater there, going there to 11. Number 12, the Philadelphia Eagles finally get a somewhat decent receiver and getting Devontae Smith from Alabama. Last season they were unable to get a top guy. They had the chance to. They took Jalen Reagor from TCU instead of getting, Justin Jefferson or T. Higgins. But I think getting Devontae Smith here at number 12 is pretty good for the Philadelphia Eagles because, they had the 6th pick. They traded back another first-round pick next year. They get an extra first-round pick, and they're still able to get a pretty nice wide receiver in Devontae Smith to finally give, the Eagles a nice wide receiver. Devontae Smith and Tua, people talk about, Devontae Smith and Jalen Hurts. People talk about Tua and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle playing, but, Jalen Hurts actually played with Devontae Smith as well. So it's kind of a connection there. I like that pick by Philadelphia quite a bit. Number 13, some might say this is reach. I really don't think so. I have the Chargers taking guard Elijah Vera Tucker. Their offensive line is horrendous. They actually had a worse offensive line than the Cincinnati Bengals last season. They really need some interior offensive line guys. They signed Corey Linsley, the center from the Green Bay Packers. That was probably, in my opinion, the best free agency signing in the NFL. But you got to protect Justin Herbert, or he's going to end up like Joe Burrow. Number 14, the Minnesota Vikings select edge rusher from Michigan, Kwity Paye. Minnesota's defense was horrendous last season. Mike Zimmer is not going to let it be that bad again. I think getting Kwity Paye here at number 14 is a really nice pick. But I could also maybe see them getting Elijah Vera Tucker as well if he's available. But I think it's guard. I think it's Elijah Vera Tucker or Kwity Paye at 14 for the Minnesota Vikings. 15, we're at number 15, and Justin Fields is yet to be taken. But with the 15th pick, Fields actually gets taken by the New England Patriots. This is a match made in heaven for the New England Patriots. This is, absolutely fantastic. You do not have to trade up to get your future quarterback. I don't know why he's dropping. It does not make any sense in my opinion. I like him a lot. He's actually my 4th best quarterback behind Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Trey Lance. But the fall of Justin Fields just makes no sense. But the Patriots getting him in here at 15 is just not fair. They're basically letting him go to Bill Belichick, and he's going to be absolutely sensational if he's able to go to the New England Patriots. This, to me, is the best pick of this entire mock draft. Let's see here. As we continue here, so I have, the New England Patriots taking quarterback Justin Fields. I think that is definitely the best pick of this mock draft. I think it's a great pick for the Patriots. I really think it could happen, whether it's the Patriots trade up or not. With the Denver Broncos trading for Teddy Bridgewater today. I don't think it's guaranteed the Broncos sit quarterback at 9, despite Justin Fields being there. But Fields going to New England right here is absolutely phenomenal. 16, I have the Arizona Cardinals selecting cornerback Patrick Surtain. I think this is a fantastic pick here. They lost Patrick Peterson in free agency. Patrick Surtain is the best player available. That makes a lot of sense. As we continue here on pick number 17, I have the Raiders taking offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw from Virginia Tech. He's dropping a little bit, not sure why, but I think if Derek Carr is able to get more protection, I think the Raiders could have a pretty nice, successful season this year. 18, I have the Miami Dolphins selecting Alabama running back Najee Harris. I think this is a great pick for the Miami Dolphins. They really need that running back. Getting Kyle Pitts number 6, Najee Harris at 18 is, in my opinion, probably best case scenario for the Dolphins. You're getting two major upgrades at both positions. You're getting two guys who are going to come in there right away and help your team a lot. Great pick there by the Dolphins. And if this happens, really expect them to take some offensive linemen in round 2 because they have 2 second-round picks. As we go to 19 here, I have the Washington football team taking Notre Dame linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. They could really use a linebacker. They've lost one of their starting linebackers in free agency. I don't really expect Washington to trade up and get a quarterback because they do not have a ton of draft capital. And, despite Justin Fields falling so much, I still don't see him dropping to 19. I think 15 is the absolute farthest Justin Fields will go. But I think it's a pretty nice pick here by the Washington football team. Number 20, I have the Chicago Bears taking wide receiver Rashad Bateman from Michigan. I love this. From Minnesota. I like this pick a lot. Allen Robinson signed the franchise tag this past offseason, so he's a free agent 1 year from now. I think it's very unlikely he re-signs with Chicago 1 year from now. You go ahead and get your star receiver in Bateman, and I really think Bateman is going to have a nice career wherever he goes. Justin Jefferson was the, I believe, 3rd or 4th wide receiver taken in the draft last season. I would not be surprised if Rashad Bateman, kind of had a Justin Jefferson-like season this upcoming year, wherever he goes. 21 here, the Indianapolis Colts pick 21. And it's going to be really interesting to see what the Colts do. Maybe they take a wide receiver, edge rusher, or offensive tackle. I actually had them taking an offensive tackle in Tevin Jenkins. I need to protect Carson Wentz because that was part of the reason why he struggled so much with the Philadelphia Eagles. You got to protect your quarterback, or he's not going to do nearly as good. That was kind of showcased with Wentz, last season. But I think that's a nice pick by Indianapolis. But don't be shocked that they take Terrace Marshall Jr. from LSU. Speaking of Terrace Marshall Jr., that is actually the next pick in this mock draft. He goes to 22 to the Tennessee Titans. They lost Corey Davis in the offseason to the New York Jets. I think it's a perfect fit. You have him and A.J. Brown, two very good young wide receivers who are both on rookie contracts. I give Tannehill somebody else to throw the ball to, especially, because they also lost Jonnu Smith in free agency as well. I know that's a great pick there. I mentioned the New York Jets signing Corey Davis, a wide receiver. The New York Jets actually have the next pick in the draft, and they take Virginia Tech cornerback Caleb Farley. I don't see Caleb Farley dropping past 23. I think this is a fantastic pick. Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded guy. He's not going to let Caleb Farley, drop anywhere past number 23. Despite his injuries, he's a top 15 player, and, he's going to be great wherever he goes to. At the absolute furthest I see Caleb Farley going is number 29 to the Green Bay Packers, but that's even still pushing it because I would be shocked if Farley's there at 23 and the Jets don't take him. I would really, really be shocked. I think if Farley's at 23, despite the Jets needing a running back and possibly taking Travis Etienne from Clemson, I think they would go corner here with Caleb Farley. Speaking of Etienne, he's actually the next pick, and he gets drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's been reports that the Steelers like Najee Harris and Etienne quite a bit. They struck out on Najee Harris due to the Dolphins getting him at 18, but they got Etienne there at 25. So it all kind of works out. I think he has potential to be really nice with Pittsburgh. Number 25, the Jacksonville Jaguars take defensive tackle from Alabama, Christian Barmore. if Christian Barmore is there at the 25th pick, I 100% fully expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to select him. They need defensive tackle desperately. They started multiple undrafted free agents last season for them. I think it would be a great pick. Some people on the Jacksonville Jaguars coaching staff was actually on Alabama's coaching staff while Christian Barmore was on the Crimson Tide. So I think there's a connection there. It makes a lot of sense. The Cleveland Browns, they're up next at 26. Despite them signing Jadeveon Clowney to a one-year contract, I'm still a big fan of them getting an edge rusher early. On my 3-round mock draft, I know I had them getting an edge rusher and Patrick Jones to Pittsburgh in round 3. But actually at 26, I'm going to have them taking an edge rusher and Georgia edge rusher Azeez Ojulari. This is a fantastic pick. I know they signed Clowney, but Ojulari is too good of a player to pass up here. You have him, Clowney, and Myles Garrett. That is absolutely insane. Edge rushing class. I actually prefer Azeez Ojulari over Kwity Paye, but I think Kwity Paye gets drafted by the Minnesota Vikings first because it's a better team fit for them. But Ojulari at 26 to Cleveland is a fantastic pick. Number 27, I have the Baltimore Ravens selecting wide receiver Kadarius Toney. I had him mocked to the Baltimore Ravens for quite a bit, and then I kind of sucked for a little bit. And then to end it, I'm going to have him go back there. There's him and Elijah Moore, in my opinion, who are here at 27 that Baltimore could possibly take. And I really think Kadarius Toney fits the Baltimore Ravens offense more than any other receiver available because Terrace Marshall Jr. has been picked. So I really, really like that pick by the Baltimore Ravens. They actually have another first-round pick here in just a couple of picks. 28, the New Orleans Saints select TCU safety Trevon Moehrig. And, actually kind of watch out for the Ravens to take Trevon Moehrig at 27. I think it's an underrated pick. That would be fantastic. I think he's probably the best player available around this spot. Despite being the best player at his position, he's actually extremely underrated. The thing to get him to upgrade their secondary. I really like that pick there. The Green Bay Packers at number 29, they take Ole Miss wide receiver Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore is the best route running wide receiver in this draft class. They finally get another wide receiver to pair with Devontae Adams. I think this is a really good pick. But if Elijah Moore is already gone, don't be surprised if they maybe take a corner. I think it would be smart if the Green Bay Packers select a wide receiver, but they should not reach. From the Green Bay Packers, I'm not taking Rondale Moore, in my opinion. If you guys not there in round 1, maybe just wait till round 2, try to get somebody else. With the 30th pick overall, the Buffalo Bills take corner Greg Newsome. They could use some corner help. They could use some edge help as well. Kind of debated this pick. But if Newsome's here at 30, I think the Bills will take him because he's the best player available, and they could use some corner help. But if he's not there, kind of expecting to maybe take an edge rusher, maybe Jalen Phillips or Gregory Rousseau, one of those Miami Florida edge rushers. Like I said, the Baltimore Ravens have 2 first-round picks, and with their second first-round pick, they take Texas offensive tackle Samuel Cosmi. I think this is a really nice pick. He's going to be the future replacement for Orlando Brown because he got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. They get the wide receiver with the their first-round pick, and they get their future starting offensive tackle with their second first-round pick. So I kind of think it works out for the Baltimore Ravens. And to close out, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers selecting Miami, Florida edge rusher Jalen Phillips. I debated between Phillips and Gregory Rousseau. I prefer Phillips a lot more. Gregory Rousseau, to me, I think you look at all the players in this draft class, I think he has potential to be one of the biggest busts in the NFL. He opted out of the season last year, and he's 3 months ago he was a top 10 pick. Now he may not even be in the first round. And while he opted out, his teammate on the other side of the ball, the edge rusher Jalen Phillips, he really helped his stock, and he can actually be potentially drafted before Gregory Rousseau, his teammate, the other edge rusher at Miami, Florida. So that's kind of my final round 1 NFL mock draft. I think this is probably the most realistic one I've done. I think this is one that's most likely to happen of all the ones that I've done. So thank you all so much for listening. If you like this video and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. And I will see you next time on the Sports 2 Hines Show.